Welcome back to Mcoc AlBundyRules. So I got the Sasquatch tutorial. Before the tutorial starts, I'm going to show you a quick look at what he can do. I'm going to see a little bit of his highlighted damage, and keep in mind the main part of his damage, the S2s, are going to be 3 hits, so you might see different levels of there, especially based on the rupture level and if they hit critical or not. And keep in mind, you can chain these S2s back to back to back to back sometimes, depending on how well you got it lined up. So I'm going to teach you how to do this, teach you how to do some of this damage we're seeing right here, how to chain it correctly. I mean, you can chain 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800,000 damage fairly easy based on how you line it up with the ruptures and the power and how aggressive you play. Super fun champ to play. I've been enjoying him very much, and I'll be using my R3 6-star here to show you a little bit of what he does. So we're winding up a little bit on the highlights. Gonna get into the tutorial now and show you the rage. Rage over there on the left, light attacks have a 30% chance to build. They also build every 4.5 seconds. They don't land a hit. So basically, if you want to build them up, just focus on light hits, or just stand back and don't hit. If you just don't hit, they will build right there. And as they build, after 5 or higher, or 15 or lower, the Wrath of Tanarok will trigger at some point, which we're going to get into in just a moment. More rage also, though, equals reduced incoming damage excluding the S3. So this dude Sasquatch, he's a straight up tank for many reasons, between adding up on those rage, an enormously high health pool, one of the highest in the game, I believe. And then also a few different ways, a couple different ways to get the regeneration, just a massive tank. So we're going to show you some of that. But now, as the rage, there's 2 ways to enter the Wrath of Tanarok. 5 or more rage, no higher than 15, it will activate on its own. Or you can also launch an S3 to get it. The good part about Wrath of Tanarok is that your power, S1 and S2, is 50% less damage. I spoke a moment ago about this chaining specials like crazy. That's the main way to go about it, is getting Wrath of Tanarok. Also, if you have things such as staggered from a heavy going on, or they have multiple debuffs or buffs, then you're able to get power even quicker, and you could just slide them back and forth really quick. Here, you get up to 5 stacks of rage, and you automatically enter Wrath of Tanarok when you do the S3. So this is something too, if you don't want to keep waiting, if you have a lot of rage, it hasn't activated, or if you just want to have a clean slate of power when Wrath of Tanarok goes, S3 could be a good idea as well. Heavy attacks and specials drain 5% of the defender's power when at S3, meaning when you play aggressive, if you don't really have to worry about pushing them to the S3, because you can drain 5% there. Medium attacks have a 30% chance to do a rupture debuff, which is a big part of where he's going to get his massive damage. When Wrath of Tanarok is active, you add 70%, which equals 100%. So all mediums are going to give you one of those rupture debuffs when Wrath of Tanarok is active, and I'm going to speak more about that a little bit later in this tutorial, because that is a big key of the damage. There's several things when placed together can just make them such an amazing attacker. So right here we're seeing on that special one, this refreshes those ruptures. If you really want to get your ruptures high, in parts of this video you're going to see me 12, 15, 20, 223 ruptures, and honestly could get way higher if you really wanted to. It's from doing the S1. Wonder how to hide? You've watched the timer there. S1 resets that timer, so that keeps them from expiring. So what you do is watch the timer, keep lining mediums, and keep building it up. Is what you will do. After the S2, it's going to go and reset them, but you'll get more from the S2. Synergy can give an extra 1 as well. So again, you see here we're at 17, 18 right there. That S1 went ahead and reset the timer, so they are not going to expire. And you see they're in the 20s now, and fight a little aggressive, and right there that 24, and then you see that 216,000 just off of the first hit. And then he was KO'd easily. Heavy attacks give a stagger. So this gives him some great utility. It allows for the buffs to kind of get staggered away once they're going to activate. I'm going to show some on Juggernaut here. Additionally, you get more quicker power when stagger is being activated too. So if you keep a stagger going, even if you don't have to worry about their buffs, you can get quicker power gains. So Sasquatch is a straight up power gain. Quick, quick, quick. And we see how the Unstoppables are going away because of that nice bit of stagger right there. You see it triggers and it automatically goes when staggered away. Also will be the same here on the Medusa right there. And I'm running Suicides right now, but even though there's a lot of recoil, he is really good with using a lot of different specials. It really doesn't matter as much because of his regeneration. Regeneration, it can be, if it's inverted, it's going to be removed, so it can't go backwards. Get 25% combat rate right there, based on his ability. And we will also see he is going to be cold snap 90% and frostbite immune, meaning he's can actually heal from cold snap here with willpower, kind of like how Corvus can heal from bleed with a 90% willpower. Sasquatch the same, so I'm actually letting Iceman hit me there because it helps me heal. You can purposefully take hits from Iceman. The signature ability, Regen Unstoppable. So at 40% is when Sasquatch, when he finally becomes a straight tank. One, because you can generate regeneration, 5% of health for 20 seconds max of 3 stacks is one of the big reasons right there. It also can create the Unstoppable on Wrath of Tanarok during the specials, which can make him just even more of a tank. Ultimate Supreme Tank. This signature ability just makes him so sustainable. Once he starts getting under 40%, once you stack on those rage, his enormously high health pool, you see all those different regeneration. Got 3 stacks of regeneration going on right now, and I can also get more regeneration on S3. So using this correctly, he can fight. I can fight all day on him under 40% because he's just so sustainable at that part, and so going even running specials and taking recoil because you can get those 5% stacks if you take hit under 40%, plus you get 10% with S3s, so I can keep sustaining any lost damage from the recoil rather easily right there, especially under 40%. And as we're seeing right on here, so stacking those ruptures right there again, doing the reset. Special 1 is about each hit refreshes the opponent's ruptures. This can trigger into the opponent's block. And final looking to do a stun debuff, 100% if Wrath of Tanarok is active. But again, the S1 is really key for resetting the timer, to keeping them from expiring. On those high health pools, you want to do minimal S2 damage. You want to get that really high, do some massive damage. Just watch the timer before it expires, have that S1 going on right there, and you can get them very high. It's fairly easy to get into the 20s, especially if you just do main medium, medium, or medium light mediums when Wrath of Tanarok is going. Use S3s to get the regeneration, and then stack up the ruptures with medium. Special 2, this is where the main part of his heavy damage is going to be. You get, in this case, 3,800 increased rating right there, but the more ruptures are going to be converted into the damage right there when you do the S2. So all these ruptures I'm stacking up, you see those massive damage going on, and of course if it crits or not, it's going to be a big difference, but even when it doesn't crit, it's still insane damage right there. But also you can spam S2 easy because the power is so high. You can spam 2, 3, sometimes even 4 S2 in a single 15-second Wrath of Tanarok. In this case right here, 3 pretty good S2s are happening in about 15 seconds right here. So you can get those high attack ones with a lot of the ruptures active. We can just spam 2, 3, 4 S2s in 10, 15 seconds playing aggressive and do 5, 6, 700,000 damage easy. Here S3 is great. It gives you a 10%. This keeps them very sustainable, and it's increased by a flat 1% per rage stack, which is important, meaning you get more regeneration and gain up to 5 stacks of rage when you enter this. It also enters Wrath of Tanarok. So, and this is where you can, S3s are great here because one, you get into the regeneration, sustain, taking away a lot of the recoil damage, but it is also allowing you to build up ruptures very easy because since you enter Wrath of Tanarok, you can just start spamming mediums and building those up and getting your power really high as well, which can then let you start spamming S2s. And I'm going to go into some of the possible rotations once I start going into tips in a moment. Here's some of the synergies. The Sabertooth one is pretty nice. It gives extra attack. It's really good for Sabertooth as well. There's the Gamma Ray one. Special 2 inflicts 1 additional Rupture. Some of this you might be seeing in some of my play. Rupture effects last 20% longer with the Squirrel Girl one. Can be very helpful the longer they last. And then you can start with 3 Fights of Rage with the Giant Challengers. And then down there in the Common History, each stack of Rage increases Wrath of Tanarok by an additional 0.3. So for example, if you had 10 of them, that would be an extra 3 seconds. So some of these synergies, and thankfully with some really good champs, it's not like you just dragging along bad champs for the sake of synergy. Some of these good champs can give you some good benefits, but none of them are absolutely needed. They just add on a little bit of extra. Tip number 1, watch the Rupture timer and use the S1 to reset. It allows easy stacking. So you want to get those Ruptures high because it gives you more damage. You just kind of build them up a little bit. They're going to expire. Think of it as kind of like Captain Marvel movie and how you have to kind of occasionally do heavies to keep her binary from expiring. Him, you'll have to occasionally Sasquatch do S1s to keep them from expiring and just build them up. The more you build, the better it's going to be. Also similar to Guardian and his force fields, building them up gives you more higher S2 damage. Medium attacks of the 30% for the Rupture and 100% when Wrath of Tanarok. So you got the Wrath of Tanarok going. You just spam those mediums and you see those Ruptures go very high very quickly. Meanwhile, you can build yourself back up to S3 and just keep doing that in a repeat basis. S3, heavy, heavy, heavy. Do an S1 occasionally to reset them to keep them from expiring. Tip 2, focus on S2 for damage. 2 main ways to get massive damage from S2. So we see a big 216,000 just the first hit right there. One way is you build those Ruptures way up and then launch the S2, and that's going to give you some big damage. Another way is just be spamming the S2. So you build up when the Wrath of Tanarok is going on, and then you just play aggressive, and you can launch 2, 3, even 4 S2s during one Wrath of Tanarok, depending on how many rage, how long it is, of course. So play aggressive, watch this. So we're seeing, I'm building up my power right there, and I launch that S2. And now I'm going to go ahead and keep fighting. I'm doing, a lot of times I might do mediums, but in this case, I'm doing 4 and 5 hit combos because I'm trying to get the power up quicker. And I've already done 2 special 2s in the past 10 seconds, and I'm getting ready to do one more before Wrath of Tanarok expires, and I've already got a whole nother bar of power. You see how easy it is there. And when you combine 2, 3, or 4 S2s with massive damage, each S2 can easily do 1 to even 300,000 combined damage between all 3 hits. So you're doing 3, 6, 800,000 damage sometimes when you're getting these going on. Through a key practice right here, just kind of combining, understand who does what. S1 resets it, S2 gives you the massive damage, S3 gets Wrath of Tanarok and regeneration. And here on S3 is a big part of tip 3, because Sasquatch is an ultimate tank. I mean, he has a ridiculously high health pool. I'm going to show his health pool is like 55,000 on mine. So you can get the rage to decrease the amount of damage done. Increases the defenses. S3 can give regeneration. His Sig ability can also give regeneration too, as we'll see on some of the clips here. But we see my health pool is 56,523. That is no boost, by the way, no boost. So between all those combinations, he can just be fighting all day long. And once his signature ability under 40%, completely crazy. So I put this on fast motion, so you can see. So see how many hits he's taken here. We're already at 45 or 50 something hits. When I decide, okay, let's start fighting a little bit. So we saw him take a ridiculous amount of hits right there. And now I want to show you how durable he really is. This is in fast motion, so you don't have to be too bored from watching a few minute clip. But we saw me down into whether around the teens or 20s damage. We see some of the regenerations from the signature ability go. We see me taking less damage from the rages going on. And then we see me gaining 10% health from the S3s. I can even take some recoil damage. I can take some hits. He's so sustainable. My health is going up. We see my health is already doubled in not even that long, maybe a couple minutes of actual playtime right there. So rotate his abilities between doing the massive damage when you want to get the massive damage, or switch to this method I'm playing right here. This is mainly just spamming S3s for the sustainability is needed. So you can go back and forth to really use Sasquatch. You can do both super sustainable tank or just an OP damage giver. I'm hoping this video helped you. Hoping my other tutorials help as well. Don't forget to click that little icon in the top left and subscribe to Mcoc AlBundyRules. As always, thanks so much for watching.